Hola.
Hola. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, man. Good to be back.
Good to have you back, sir, on a Saturday. We tried to hold down the fort for you while you were off on a classified, highly classified mission.
Well, if there's one thing that you know now, it's I can keep a secret.
Man, when I kill a body and I hide it, the secrets are safe with you.
Yeah, man.
You've got a vault, my friend. But if you read between the tea leaves and you can listen to comments and things that people say, people post, people leak, you start to know the ones that leaked it, and you can start to play detective and be like, "Oh, you said something." And they should almost not even comment because you're getting people in trouble.
Yeah, there's a couple that was, it didn't bode well for them. It did not bode well for them.
Might not see an invite again.
Probably not. Yeah.
Well,
hey, it's one of those things. If you to take things seriously or not to take things seriously, especially in this hobby, it does matter.
It does. It does. And there's always something. And 9 out of 10 times, I am going to link you to it somehow, some way. I mean, at some point, I hope we can take a deep dive in, or we don't have to go real deep, but the reef shocks. You don't happen to have a set sitting in front of you, do you?
I might.
Whoa, perfect. And
the springs.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So, well, we could do it this way. I don't know if I was prepared to make this left turn at Albuquerque so quickly, but
hey, whatever you want to do, we can talk about whatever
we left this guest free for a reason, because the last 2 weeks the internet glitched, and it was frustrating as can be. So I really wanted to take it out for a test drive tonight, and I didn't want to make anybody suffer. I think I'm suffering PTSD for what we put Paul Wilhite through, and I still have not forgiven myself for that one. That was a hard night.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure this was going to work. So why don't we do it this way? Yeah. We're going to roll in with a quick pause here. Let everybody know. Stick around till the end if you want to know definitely what the heck is going on with this drop from Reef, because I'm sure when we get to take a little closer look at your workbench, we're going to have some in the mail things here, and I definitely would love to hear more about what went into those shocks.
Yeah,
so definitely. But what's important now, we are going to open the files. We are going to have a declassified look at what went into the Illuminati of Scale. I'm a conspiracy guy, so when you drop Illuminati in front of anything, in front of anything just makes it sound better. All right, yeah, so we're going to do that. We are definitely going to do that. So just pause. We'll get ourselves straight. We'll put our game faces on. Sit.
That was quick.
All right, that was a pause. That was just a transition. So this has been a work in progress. So how easy and how far can we take it? The Illuminati Scale has to have a close connect back to USDE, right? Like, are we going to connect the dot like that?
Well, yes and no. So,
okay.
Rob Matthews, that ran USDE, his original intent, and I'm not speaking out of turn, he said this at our gathering. He originally intended USTE to go 10 years. Unfortunately, wrong people and wrong things started to occur, and he had to kind of rethink what was going on. The costs were multiplying quickly, and the event was losing its tune. Originally, USTE was to get customers connected to vendors and enjoy scale trails in a scale manner. The scale manner stopped kind of occurring. The scale trucks kind of, for what it's worth, wasn't the caliber that it once was or expected it to be. So all that stopped. Then last year, well, about a year or so ago, Rob reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, I want to do this the right way with a small group of the right people and just enjoy scale stuff." So we bounced around a couple logo ideas, and the Illuminati of Scale iOS came out, and a really unique logo that's in the thumbnail. Because actually I have it here. So this is the logo of the Illuminati of Scale. So you have the Phoenix, you know the Phoenix. If you don't know what a Phoenix is, look it up. But you have the X-Acto knife, the ruler because we're at scale accuracy, and then of course radio for radio control, and the all-seeing eye. So that's the meaning behind the logo. Really smart people made that. Wasn't me. My idea was a scale truck climbing up the side of a pyramid with an all-seeing eye in it, and the driver flipping off everybody as he's going up the hill. That didn't make it. This one did. It was a little more timeless. But yeah, so like we went out there. He kept the location absolutely secret for 6 months, 8 months. And then he narrowed it in for us so we could do accommodations or whatever. But we had the ability to camp on site as well, which I did. I camped with Josh Dutton, RC Every Day, and we had a blast. Like, we set up tents. It's the first time I've tent camped probably in 15 years. Now I know why, and I'll remember that for the next 15 years. But yeah, we had a good time. But it was just a really good gathering of some really talented, high caliber scale people from Canada, East Coast, Midwest. Like it was just really, really great. I saw a lot of things that you wouldn't see at USTE. It's there's highly detailed trucks that you see on the internet, on YouTube or Facebook pages, and some YouTube content creators. Like, you see those trucks and you're like, that is amazing. And these guys have years into these trucks, and to bring them out and not only show them but drive them was amazing. Like, it was just absolutely amazing. And I had such a good time that it was very relaxing for me. I got to drive a lot of scale trucks. I got to look at a lot of scale trucks. But it was just fantastic. It's a invite only system. Previous winners of USTE had first crack at it, which I have my trophies. So that's how I got my invite. And it really made you feel good about getting the invite. Came in a nice black envelope with a wax seal on it. Like, it was primo. It really felt like a good experience. They fed us. They gave us the terrain, the manicured trails, very boutique for tiny tire trucks. There was a couple larger tire trucks. There's an Origin. Origin was there. Michael brought his, which was good to see. But he learned quickly. I think he dumped it in the water, but it's meant for scale realism. So you had water lines that were at no higher than the hub of the tire, no mud more than the rim height. So it was really good.
Could you give us a brand then, or are we talking TF2? Like when you, because you throw out the Origin, is that too big, or you're saying no body style truck?
No body style was not allowed. Scale is a measurement, so it's different scales were there. 12th scale, 10th scale, 7th scale.
Okay.
I took my primer artifact to show it. I didn't run it on the trails.
Okay.
But it's a very scale vehicle, right? It's got a full interior. It's got everything that you would embody into a scale truck. And I showed it there. People ask a lot about it when they see the videos. They're like, "What the hell was that thing sitting on the table?"
Yeah. You want to talk about a head turner?
Yes, definitely a head turner. But I would say TF2 platforms, but most of the trucks were either GCM, a lot of boom racing
Okay.
vehicles, but a lot of customs, like just a lot of custom builds. I wouldn't say that there was like a kit ready on the tables. Everything had been massaged, manipulated, touched in some form or fashion.
Right.
Like it like USTE, you could unbox a TF2 like the new Toyotas. Like you could unbox that and fit in well at USTE. If you did that at the iOS event, like
sore thumb.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
There was a lot of time.
Yes. Yeah, and it's if you did do something like that, it would be a minor insult to people that did take a year, 2 years, 3 years to build a truck. And you just set that down next to it. It's like, yeah.
Did Josh Dutton, RC Everyday, run that work truck? The with the RC four-wheel drive.
The work truck didn't get a workout.
Okay. I was going to show that. I mean, he had it up on its back with the exhaust pipes running, and
and it looked fantastic. I mean, that was a very good example. But the trucks that won the gallery were ones that they looked like they were transported out of like a 1960s FJ40 trophy, if you know what I'm talking about, the long extended FJ40s that were hit with a shrink ray. I mean, the paint was absolutely flawless. The underhoods were absolutely accurate. Starter relays, like
dipsticks that pull out.
Yeah, very, very, very accurate. I still wonder where some of them even put a battery, because there's just no evidence of RC wiring or anything. I mean, you can find a servo, but outside of that, like, you'd be hard pressed to find anything that would identify it that way. So it was really, really, really awesome. Really, really awesome. I don't know how much else I can explain that.
No, I think it's fair.
Yeah. Like the trail, the scaleness of the trail. There's multiple bridges. There's multiple side hills, multiple climbs. Challenges for small trucks, small tiny tire trucks. They were I ran my 109 with the full top, the whole scale garage systems enclosure on the back of it. And talk about a tippy truck. Like, it's a tippy truck anyway. And I think I rolled it twice. ejecto ceto, because I had a scale yard sale out there with all the stuff out of the back the first time. Learned my lesson, put some of it away. But it was very challenging course wise. There were some floating bridges, like you would go up onto the bridge that was floating in the water. You would ramp up to it, the bridge would sink, and then you would get on top of it, it would float, and then when you drove off of it, it would sink again. Very reminiscent of what you'd find in like Southeast Asia, going across rivers and such. Yeah, Josh drove the wheels off of his 88.
I see this.
That thing was dialed.
Was Wes made there? Was Wes?
No.
Okay. That Scrambler, I thought
some of his builds are there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's the trophy that I'm talking about.
Oh. So was this walking around the show and shine or the runners up?
Yeah, this was the gallery before we started running.
Okay.
Now, we had already done a night run previous to this, so you'll see dirty trucks on the tables.
Fantastic. So the show and shine contenders were driven. They weren't just plopped down.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched most of these trucks run trails. I don't think there's any that were.
Oh, look at the wood grain on that Cherokee.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, they were stunning to say the least. That right there, that thing was amazing. That Yoda. Matt Kett was there. He brought his CUCV, which was awesome. Richard was there, Turks and Jerks.
Yeah.
Quite a few people were there. Like I said, GCM, Dana, and all them were there, and it went really well. The other things that we did, we had. I'll mention this one first: the BBX-01, the Tamiya, the off-road car.
Yes.
They had a race.
Yes.
They had a race for those. Another race was it was kind of an ad hoc. It was about a month before the event, maybe a little bit more. They said, hey, we're going to do TTO2 shenanigans. So build and bring a TTO2. So there's 12 people that did that. And these TTO2s, if you know the Tamiya way, the cars look fantastic right out. If you just box art them, they look fantastic. But these guys, hard bodies, chassis mods, wheelbase changes, custom wheels, they went all out with the TTO2 stuff. I built a hard body Beetle for Ryan Kornmesser at RC Addict. He wanted one built 2 years ago, and I finally this gave me the reason and the motivation to build it. But that was a stretched custom printed chassis that I made. You can get all the files on Thingiverse. So modified things, got that Beetle on it, and cleaned their clocks in the 10-lap challenge. It won. 10 laps to 7 was second place. Then we did, what else did we do with them? The drag races and the show and shine. We did a show and shine as well. So tied for first with the show and shine to a 50s, a Midnight Pumpkin cab on a full bed race truck livery. That thing was outstanding. And that was done voting by GCM. So, scale engine, the whole deal. You had to have all those boxes checked. The drag race, I raced it for Ryan because he has a bad arm, and cleaned their clocks. I got through to the third and final round and beat that car by a car length with a Beetle. So, it's that kind of thing, but it was so much fun. We were on the hardball on the road with some cones out, and it was like playing street hockey. You'd hear car, and everybody would clean off of the road. The car would drive by. We would all wave, and then we would put all the stuff back in the road and continue having fun, burning batteries. But it was like that was the highlight. One of the highlights that I enjoyed the most was that running of those Tamiya cars on the asphalt. Like that was fun. But that's the kind of event it was. Like it was fun for everybody, and it just it just kind of it made you feel good. A lot less pressure, and some people got out on trails that don't normally get out on trails during an event. So it was pretty fun. I'm looking forward. Hopefully, I get an invite again next year.
And no one will know until it's over.
After it's over. Yep. And one of the reasons for that is the property is private property, and like you couldn't geotag, you couldn't like that kind of stuff. Like you had to be kind of careful with what you were doing because it's a private location. It's not public. They don't want anybody there. It's hunting area. So you need people to respect that, and the best way to respect it is to not give them the information to get there. Sometimes, so it really that was kind of the nexus of it, and
so it had that kind of a secret fill. You didn't even get the destination until almost the night before. Like
I was in North Carolina when I got the final grid.
Okay.
So I was already driving in a general direction of a town in Georgia that we were given, and yeah, I didn't have a final pin until I got.
It gives it that real secret, underground, secret society kind of feel.
Yeah, and it's not to be smug or better than thou, holier than thou.
Yep.
Kind of vibe. It's just it had to be private for those reasons.
I think that's well said. It had to be private, period, and not necessarily the invites will change next year. Most likely, right? Like
the invites will change.
The point
that was told to us right up front. Like, hey,
bingo.
A lot of you might not be here next year. You either went because you got your mentorship, or you went to teach, or you went to play. And I think everybody kind of figured out where they fit in that arrangement. And like there's not much else to do after that. Like if you're a master of this, maybe you don't need to go. And if you need to see it because you think that you have reached that level, and you just need your eyes open and see where the bar actually is.
You want a gut check real quick?
Well, yeah. In the nicest possible way. But yeah.
But that was always the fun of USTE. I think there's no room for jealousy. I think it's the respect and the I don't know, admiring and just geeking out. This is when you get the nerd out look and just see it up close. I don't know. You've got to be a true RC guy and really into scale to just kind of appreciate the details. Was there a typical USTE trail feel with those iconic like trail marks with that rake with the scale lines? Like did it feel like trucks were driving in there for 30 years? Like
it definitely they were very curated trails. They were very prepared. Nothing was really ad hoc. I mean, there was like you're running through bamboo shoots, and there's like a Vietnam type vibe to the trail at that point. Like you're going through these bamboo shoots that are 5, 6 feet tall. And then you come out of that, there's a watchtower and a little hut and stuff like that. Like and then other parts of the trail are like California park systems or something like that, where you have scale picnic tables set up and dioramas hidden in the woods. So yeah, very USTE. And it did not disappoint. Like there's some really, really clever stuff out there that you could get your scale photography on. And that was kind of the point of it too, was to make sure that people were able to get, good video, good content for creators. Some people just put it all out there. And there's, I don't know how much more content they could possibly get in 2 days. And then there's other people that are kind of holding it back to really, really use that content over time. So we'll see.
Well, that makes total sense. I mean, you're driving into a scale scene that you're not going to get these backdrops, and I mean, unless you're just throwing AI behind it, but the so authentic and driving through it, so cool. I am admiring, the whole premise of it, the whole vision behind it. Just I think it's very cool. Yeah, no question, you're going to break some eggs along the way and hurt some feelings. I'm sure people aren't going to grasp it. I know the cost was up there, and people felt funny about, was it too much?
I mean, let's talk about cost, because what things cost are based on their value, right? Intrinsic value. So I had 3 meals provided that I didn't have to do anything for but show up and chew. I had latrines. I had curated trail that took more than 4 hours to finish. One direction, 4 hours, and then do it backwards for another 4 hours. So I had tons of trails. I had a night run. I had my little gift box. So we got some walk away stuff, which isn't free. I got T-shirts and I got my mug.
Okay.
I got a beautiful little patch for my carry-all bag.
You're okay.
Got my little name tape thing, and I got some Illuminati truck stickers to put on the trucks that I drove there. Nice little banner. So
I'm at like $200 already. I'm trying to calculate some ballpark figures, putting a dollar figure on this.
Sure.
We're about $200 already.
And then free camping, free tent camping, no charge. There's limited hookups for people that were traveling, long distances or whatever. They have that ability. I mean, you could have registered ahead and said, "Hey, I got a camper," and they had RV hookup capability. So I'm already over 300 in value.
I'm at 320.
Yeah, and it was less than that. So, I mean, if you want to account for fuel and stupid stuff like that, like you're going to burn that getting anywhere.
So, and the thing that you cannot put a dollar figure on is the atmosphere and the chance to meet and greet and hang out with really scale nerds
right
at the end of the day.
I mean, you have an access to meet some mentors or some YouTube celebs that you might not ever otherwise get the chance to meet. Hanging with Josh, it's amazing to me how many people adore him, to the point where Old Son made him a scale model.
Oh, I can pull that up. Yeah, that thing's amazing. I like Do you know anything about it in detail? I mean, was that printed? What?
No, that was handmade. That was modeled. That's the medium that he works in. I mean, he got best driver in the gallery for a reason. Like he molds these. He makes Hawaiian shirts out of paper towels, hand painted. Hawaiian shirts.
What was the name again?
Old Sun.
Okay.
Yeah. And he like follow him on Instagram. He's starting to get that way. Like he's starting to show some stuff. But he's a huge fan of RC every day. He looks, him and his two sons were there, and they were amazing. And just hanging out with them, and Josh is like, hey, I finally soldered, and I'm getting this, and they were like, man, it's great to, we know that's been a challenge for you. He's like, well, this guy, he helped me along. He helped me figure out the soldering iron, and then it was, well, who are you? I'm like, Jeremy Kilburn, Addie's RC. And they're like, no shit. We didn't know that. So then there's, all that conversation picks up because they know you from, Josh mentions me and Matt Kett mentions me on their live show. So that then they get name recognition with other creators. So like the Make It RC guy. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he was there with his 24 scale RC stuff. There's just a plethora of people. There's no shortage of people to meet. It was really, really cool. So I see there's from beginner RC. If you want to, I'll pop that up. Yes, we do share tips and tricks of doing things, and that's kind of the point of this too. Is there is how the heck did you create this? What material did you use to achieve that that detail? So that grows the scale community because the top people that are doing these things are learning from each other, and then once they get that under their belt, then they share that again at other meets. So
like to name drop here, one, Wes does tremendous work, but Wayne's World or Wayne's RC. I mean, the first year I seen him at USTE with that removable dipstick in the engine, and he even had one more with the keys in the ignition. Like really takes the time to work on those details, and that's the opportunity to bend an ear. And I don't think there's a soul there that's going to keep a trade secret to themselves. Oh, dude, let me tell you what I did.
We're all about talking about what
I took two Q-tips and stuck them together.
Yeah, like during the gallery, there's a gentleman that was, as people walked by, he was explaining his truck, and we had a conversation about that. A few of us had a conversation about that. It's like, hey, if you really have to explain what you've done, have you done it? Not, I don't want to say well, but have you done it to the degree where people notice it without you talking about it? There's exceptions to that, like scale dipsticks. Like I've done them. Transmission and oil dipsticks, power steering fluid dipsticks, brake reservoirs where the cap flips off. Those are things that you can't see because you can't move them, obviously, during the show and shines. But that's where the social media comes in. Like if you're out there and you're sharing your builds, people see that, and then when they see the truck in person, they're like, that thing's got a dipstick in it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it that does play into it a little bit, where you have to share some of those details with people to make them notice. But during a show and shine, maybe not so much.
And that's what makes judging in that thing almost impossible.
And the judging was peer judging. So they had a QR code that you scanned in. on your own phone, and it led you to the category judging. You had your driver number, and you put in the other car numbers. And people
Okay.
were only given four uh, four places in the gallery, which I thought was really great, because then you have to pick your four best
Oh,
and go from there. And some people just have more than four that are
right.
just killer. But it,
I
you
like
know,
it. No.
having your peers look at your trucks from their eyes and their perspective, I think is really great. Um, and it's, it makes it easier for GCM guys because they don't have to go around and like that last USTE when it took them like 3 hours to judge
Well,
because
that
there's
there were so
300 cars.
many of them. Yeah.
It just, that kills the entertainment value, kills their time. So limiting it to four, and there was only 70-ish of us there. So it wasn't, a huge gallery, but it was still pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the downside, and that's what lopsides it a little bit. Nobody needs to put in 12 trucks and
Yeah.
stack the deck. I like the idea. Let them put their cap it for
Yeah.
cool. So it's not a QR code on every truck that's entered. They get numbers. The QR
Yeah.
code is for you voting.
Yeah.
That
For you to
registers
scan,
you.
takes
You
to
enter the
vote.
number.
And a really great thing is the votes are accumulated automatically through that platform, through that app or whatever. So it was really easy for them to do the scores.
Okay.
And some of the categories were within 1 to 2 votes for first place. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Wow. Well, was there an honorable mention at all? If like, can we say who won? Like, was there? Well, not even one. Take that back. Was there one thing that you would take away from that table, like working windshield wipers or something in all that you're like, holy shit, this was worth the price of admission to see this?
I can't really say that I saw something that was like, oh my gosh, I really need to figure that out.
Okay.
But it did leave me with ideas of things that I didn't see.
So this is bringing us back. That's bringing us back full circle to the whole point of maybe not being invited back. So that was kind of the gist of this. Hopefully we will inspire you or give you something to work for. We're going to send you home with a new look, some new ideas, paint techniques, whatever. So that kind of brings you back. That's exactly what they wanted, was people to have what you just said there. I left with inspiration and a drive to do something new.
Yeah, there was definitely things that I didn't see that I thought I would see by now in our hobby. And I didn't see them, which one gives me hope because I might be able to do it.
Okay.
But two, it's that inspiration piece. Like
I'm dying to know because we've seen a lot of shit there. We've seen windows roll up and down. We've seen a lot.
Yeah. And quite honestly, it was during the TTO2 race that I was like, there's my aha moment. Like I could have done something that hasn't been done and everybody would have noticed.
Wow.
And like that's up here now. I wrote it down on my little tablet.
Nice.
That's going to be in my next
awesome
super scale build because I think it needs to be done. So, yeah. I got what I wanted out of it, which was that inspiration piece, like you said.
Okay. Could you disclose what that inspirational piece was, or was no? Okay. Well, no, we don't want to spoil surprise.
I'll see it Tuesday. Like I'm not. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, not doing that. Sorry.
Well, so it was good eats, great trails, great people. At the end of the day, the Illuminati Scale seems like and great weather.
Oh
to
my
boot.
gosh, yeah, the weather was
So
fantastic.
and it was almost like shitty weather right after it ended. I was
Yeah.
watching. It
So I
was
left. I
timed
left
perfectly.
around. Yeah, I headed home around like 11:30 because I knew rain was coming in. So that morning I packed up. I went out. I did a trail run. I made it um, probably about 2.5 hours that morning. I kind of sped through some of the sections, just trying to get to the cool stuff to take pictures of and whatever. And I left 11:30, 12 o'clock ish, and as soon as I got onto the hardball road, it started raining. It didn't stop raining until I hit Carolina. And what people said was like it would rain and then it would stop, and then it would rain and then it would stop. But the event was over at noon. So, yeah. And then there was terrible weather going like south and northwest. Like they ran into some ugly, ugly rainstorms, thunderstorms.
Timed absolutely perfectly. That could have been you guys, like
Yeah.
so easily. And it's the
Yep.
thing. I don't know.
And driving by myself after the surgery that I had, probably wasn't the most genius maneuver anyway. But I had trusted friends around me, like Josh, and and they knew what was going on. So it was like, hey, if I fall down mysteriously and don't get back up, like this is probably why, and you need to know this. So it was good on that I was able to have friends on the trail that could
Watched out for
kinda
the
keep an eye on
old.
me.
Watched out for the old guy.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it was because there was some, I'd say, uneven terrain um, to really trip yourself up on if you weren't careful. So having going out in teams or buddies or groups or whatever was also kind of a necessity. Um, but you also want to do that because of the photo ops. Like you can't. It's how hard it is to video and photo your own stuff by yourself. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So having somebody there with you is very helpful.
I'm telling
Quite
you.
honestly, Josh got more video footage of my 109 than I did because I was just the greedy. I'm just driving and talking to people the whole time. Yeah.
I'm telling you that behind the scenes look at filming an action movie where they've got that donkey car with the crane and the gimbal camera truck. Like
Yep.
I am telling you, somebody needs to literally build a replica of that with a gimbaled, because we've seen this company drop that FPV camera where you turn your head and the camera moves. Bro, and that thing's not cheap. I mean, it's like $700. The technology's out there. It doesn't have to be that insane. I'm telling you, you're gonna find some guy willing to geek out and just drive behind and keep that stuff in line, and you're getting some cool angles. And I think it's a thing.
Yeah, the one scale build was actually was a camera car, like a what do they call it, the Google car.
Okay. Oh,
it was built like that. It had a Insta360 on the top.
Nice.
Yeah. And there was
okay, so a real Insta360 on top, not like a scale,
not
3D printed one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that thing's driving along and getting Insta360 angles. I wonder how well it's shooting the front of its own hood. Like, I wonder if it gives it a scale look on the trail.
I won't know until I see the footage. I haven't seen any footage of that yet.
Okay.
There was GoPros out on the trails, like kind of hidden off to the side of some of the sections.
Okay.
So I'm interested in waiting to see
what they're doing with
I'm sure it would take quite an edit because it was there all day. So whatever they were doing for time lapse or motion sense or however they had that set up.
Okay.
But that would be some good footage too.
It's funny. Listen, you can't talk about this hobby anymore without bringing some type of photography,
Mhm.
videography, edits, the apps. It's all a part of it, and it's such.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't
Uh,
separate it anymore.
you can't. And I've start to really pay attention and watch photography, trying to understand, a little bit deeper dive into what goes into taking a good photo. What kind
Yeah,
of lighting, all that stuff. We had Dan from My Trick RC on here trying to help us learn how to take a good photo at night when those headlights are glaring
yeah,
back at you. Like,
yep. I remember that.
that kind of stuff it's a talent, it's a trick. You got to fake out your phone to be able to do it. But
Yeah, yeah,
listen, it's a part of it, and I
yeah.
mean, I love.
There's a lot of strategy to photography.
Yes.
I mean, I took photography classes,
Oh,
but that was with 35 millimeter film
okay.
because I'm old.
Right.
Digital photography is
It's changed
little
the game.
strange to me at this point, but yeah, I'm old.
But you start to go back to the ones and twos, to the basics, and you can link
Yeah,
back to,
yep,
the
yep.
simplicity of, what
Yeah,
gets it started.
perspective.
Yes.
The
Apertures and
the rule of threes, the all that stuff.
yes. There's something to it. Well, that's the reason why there's like 12 of every photo in my phone. Just because if there's something off a hair, you're not
Yeah,
going to be able to recreate that moment. So I'm like,
yeah,
I'll bang out like 4 or 5 of them right away.
yeah.
Okay, I'll look
And
at it later.
there was a couple instances where you're taking a picture and people get
Oh,
excited and they're in this zone or whatever, and all you had to do was say scale legs, and they would be like, oh shit, I'm standing in your fucking
no.
frame, I'm so sorry. It didn't you didn't have to be rude or anything else about it, but it was just
People
like,
knew.
oh shit, giant legs.
There's a, there's somebody always photoing and videoing somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great event. I had a lot of fun with it.
There's Scale Audio Solutions is here.
Oh,
My
nice.
uh, yeah. Oh, he I didn't make a lot of friends at UST after having his setup. He sent me home with that Knight Rider audio loop, and I had Michael Knight's voice and
Oh,
Knight Rider playing
yeah.
the entire time in the gallery.
So I can definitely tell you
we
there's no sound systems
no engine,
actively,
no music, no
yeah,
subwoofers, no
none
nothing.
none actively engaged on the trail. There's a lot of lights, flashing
Okay,
lights and stuff like that, but yeah, no,
nothing. Wow, that's
yeah,
insane.
I was happy about that.
I know you were. That's why I turn it up louder when you're around.
I know you do. I know you do.
And did you hear us last week when I got nominated to pie you in the face?
Yes, I did hear that. I listened to the show while I was driving home on Sunday, and I was like, "These mama, like
You can't defend yourself then.
that's yeah, like that's what we're doing now, huh? Yeah, okay, I got you. I got you.
Oh, your boy Bobby Mack is here. What a good dude. Bobby, how are you, sir? Yeah, so it was a week over here dealing with carry-all stuff. So I had an aha moment that shocked me. Guy hit us up for an A&M Garage Special Edition theme bag, which we've done them
Okay,
before.
yeah.
But the guy was literally opening up an A&M Garage package that he just received. So he's like, dude, I'm unboxing my stuff from Bert right now. And I'm like, wait, time out. I really had so much of his stuff has been, I guess, flying over my head. So didn't even realize he was dumping out that kind of material and product still, but it
Oh yeah.
sounds like it's still booming.
Mhm.
This dude was, recommending it to his local hobby shop, and well, just shock and all, very happy.
Yeah.
Very basically super duper happy. to hear a small business like that, like Bert doing so well and still driving forward. We got Scale Audio Solutions here. And that was just kind of a piece. That was the start of this trend of hearing more and more that are doing well. And I think it feels like a fresh start into 25. The events are starting. People are getting back outside. It feels like things are starting to come back alive a little bit.
Yeah.
You go in that cabin fever winter funk, and now it's waking up. We had a Rad RC special edition bag go out this week. I can't lie, it wasn't so much a fan of the show as it was more the artwork. But and then Dreamer slapped his Rad RC. He's got his logo on the back of his car, driving around with it now. So it was a week.
Nice. I know I had my sling bag. That was my bag of choice for that event. It held 2 bottles of water, 2 batteries, my camera gear,
your EDC.
It was enough because we were close enough that, you know, if something catastrophic happened, you know, you weren't that far away from your vehicle. But and I saw a lot of carry-all bags out there. It was prolific. I took some pictures to send to you.
We got
what I saw in its natural habitat.
And it definitely, and then that was a trend. It sparked up a lot of stuff. We got some stuff going out to Scale Rat and J Concepts this week, and it just kind of got this trend. We got the one going to Dubai that will leave Bruce on Bull. Monday. Yeah, what a cool cat this guy is.
Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah. And he's got that accent I can just listen to for hours. So it was a week. Dealing with that. While you were away, I printed with some ABS.
Nice.
My printer's mad at me. I will tell you that. It's hot, dude. ABS. You've got to get that bed hot. You've got to get
the enclosure. The enclosure has to stay steady. You have a fine balance of venting, and noxious fumes.
Well, I think I had some filament somewhere, like on the extruder head somewhere.
Oh.
As it rose to that like 280 mark, I mean, I was smoking for a minute. I'm like, let it settle down. After it burn it, it was like cleaning a gas grill. Once you burn it off, it settled in and it ran.
So here's a tip. Like if you run like I do on my carbon, I'll run from PETG mainly over to an ABS print. I will print a benchy in between in ABS to kind of flush the system, clean the nozzle really well, let that ABS kind of flow, and then do my print. Just to make sure that everything is out of its system, because it does. The PDG or PLA will stick to the outside of the extruder, and then there's hot temperatures, and it'll drop into your print, which ruins a print. So I like to run a benchy just in between because it only takes 15 minutes.
Right.
So, doesn't take long.
And that's a good way to keep just an eye on things. You know, from that benchy, the calibration of it is something I'll tweak. You can, it's a great piece to run.
Yeah, it's a quick piece to.
How many of those I start collecting them.
Yeah.
I'll start dropping them at weird places every once in a while because I don't know what the hell to do with them all.
Yeah, there's little art projects that I print my wife. Sometimes those are filament change pieces that, you know, they came out pretty good. So I just, you know, give them to her, the little flexi people or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, like the like a crash test dummy kind of guy? Is that
no. Like a Christmas tree with legs that flops, or turkeys with legs that, whatever they call them. If you know what they're called, just comment.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's
a print in place kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it moves. Yeah. Oh. I got a sample. Then I'll show
Yeah,
you.
because I like I told you before, I usually do at least one print for her a week. Something that has meaning or whatever.
Yep.
So if I can do it with a filament flush at the same time, like it just saves me time.
That makes sense.
So how did ABS work for you?
Very well. So far, I would say no complaints. I'm done with it right now.
Okay.
There was some finickiness. I was printing launch pads for a drone. So it was 4 sections and basically each section was the complete piece of the bed. So it's almost corner to corner. And one of the corners would constantly start to lift. And it was almost a 5-hour print. It's like
Welcome
a
to
waffle
ABS.
pattern. And yeah, what a pain.
Yeah.
So I would get 3 out of 4 fine, and that fourth one was always I just gave up and said it's fine, like,
So
whatever.
So here's another tip that and that A&M logo looks sick. Here's a tip for you if you're doing ABS, and especially if you're doing larger ABS on your plates, is get that thing up to temperature, get that build plate up to temperature, and hit it with a thermal gun. You're going to find hot spots and cold spots on your build plate bed, because the heating element isn't like, it's not like a heated floor where it zigzags back around. Like, it's got heaters under it. So you may have a hot spot or a cold spot where it's not allowing it to adhere. So just hit it with your thermal gun and kind of map out where the hot and the colder spots are.
Yep.
And adjust where your print sits on your bed to work around it or maximize it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably where I was going to have to retreat to, was reslice it, reposition it, and see if we could make it work. At some point, I just gave up.
Yeah, a cheap thermal gun from Harbor Freight or wherever, Ryobi. Just let the bed get up to temperature and see where the hot spots are. If you have a thermal camera, it makes it really easy because you get to see the gradient.
I usually have one within an arm's reach somewhere. And that was really from the Nitro days. That's why that was literally got Traxxas written on the side. That was keeping an eye on that Nitro motor.
Yeah, Nitro motors. Yeah, you might have to put batteries in that because
no doubt. So then my dad got into this pew pew little hobby of his with BB guns, collecting old ones, and the first ones he blew apart with the PLA. So I'm like, you know what, Pop? I got a roll of this ABS in here right now. So we threw a whole bunch of them in, and these were all that kind of print in place. They print flat, and a few of them have quarters to counterbalance it. So you hit the top, they flip around. So point being, you can find so many files out there. There's just so many great creators providing so much cool stuff.
And I know that they have those bigger for Nerf guns. I did one of those for a friend who does a lot of trade show stuff. Like she goes to trade shows all the time. So she had like this contest thing where you get one shot with a Nerf gun at a target, and I printed the target for her.
Nice.
To shows. So she like gives away gifts or whatever with whatever you hit. It's one of those the carny things, like where you call them in because people like to shoot with Nerf guns.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, so that was that. It all worked out. So ABS has been a thing. The other great tip that you shared was that box, the preheating box, not dehydrator, that heat box. I almost want to call it a heat box.
Yeah,
it stores 2 rolls. I haven't printed ABS without it, so I can't say
Mhm.
Too much more as a comparison, but I will tell you the ABS was fine to print, and I'm gonna attribute it back to that box. I know it's helped with a few of the prints, giving getting that filament up to temperature and getting any moisture out of it. It's a no
Yeah.
brainer. There's a reason the bamboo comes with one of those sitting on top of the machine. It like they work.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to address some of the comments real
Yeah,
quick.
fire away.
I have had an airsoft, the Tamiya tank that shot its little rounds. I don't think that was a production kit. I think that was something that we added on to it. That um, it's fun until you get shot between your belly button and your kneecaps. If you know what I mean. Um, so yes, doing that is a thing. And Charlie Brown, I'll be at Beat the Creek, and I will stop by and
You're gonna go see your homie Dino,
yeah,
Don.
yeah. I'll stop by for sure. I always
Bro,
do. Always
Don is a ton of fun.
do. Yep. And,
Mr.
and
Hinkle.
Bobby Mack with he was one of the ones that had the bag. And yes, the sling bag. I found the sling bag was a lot more comfortable, especially with some of those tight corridors that we had for walking trails, because we didn't walk on the driven trails. We had our own trails, which was nice because there was like steps and all that stuff for us. We didn't have to, goat path our way through. It was very nice, but having that smaller bag across my chest was nice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you want to keep doing? You want to do some mail call? I got some mail call.
Yeah. Oh well,
I
I definitely want to go into mail call, and I got it before I let you off the hook. We got to talk shocks.
Yeah.
And
part of mail
have
call.
you seen this ESC, the one that dropped with the programmer on it? Have you seen this, the FureTech ESC that dropped this week?
No.
All right, you do your thing. I'll find it.
Okay. I've run into a unique problem. There's a printing problem, and that is spools with not enough filament. Right.
Okay.
They're just not a usable amount left.
So you're starting to fuse rolls.
So I got
together.
a fuser.
No way.
Yeah. So I can fuse filament together with this handy dandy little machine.
So it doesn't have to be the same color in theory. So it has nothing to do with color.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Whatever color you can make your own, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to string together a bunch of different colors, and that's kind of what I was wrenching on while I was talking to you. Is kaleidoscope. So I need. I have different color panels all over the place and different materials. Like this is that carbon, that PA6 stuff.
Is this for a demo, like on a table to show what
colors?
It's not an autism thing. For a second I thought it was like an ASD thing.
Can be. It can be. It's puzzling.
Yeah.
But this door specifically, I'm doing that. I'm splicing the material together to print a door with that coloration to it. So I've been kind of reading up on filament use rates, so length versus printable area. So doing a little bit of math to agitate myself. But yeah, I'm going to try and figure that out, get the right lengths of filament fused together with that little tool. And yeah, we'll see what it looks like.
Did you happen to see the filament maker? So when you're taking debris, with your supports, and you end up with these bins of supports and failed pieces, you throw them all in this bin, and it melts it down, and literally is making you filament. Have you seen this thing? Like,
I have seen it. I've seen a couple of them, and I saw a demonstration when Printopia was
it? Yeah. Okay.
I've seen everything from making it out of bottles, which I have some of that filament. Is bottle filament, where plastic bottles stripped and then they melted into the correct diameters. But I've seen the mulchers. I call them plastic mulchers.
Yeah. No,
Because it
it's
sits there, it
genius.
chops it up really fine,
Yep.
and then it melts
Yeah.
it and extrudes it.
100%. But
What
the scary part is if it's ABS, PLA, PETG, if you got this bin that you threw in the mulcher of all different filament, you
can't do it.
can't.
It's
I'm
got
just
all be the
saying,
same.
my pile, I'm not sorting out my trash pile of support. I guess you
No,
gotta start.
but if you're print farming, you
Okay.
usually can, because
Okay.
you don't run
Run 'em
multiple
in
filaments
batches.
like
Yep.
that on the same machine. You run in different machines.
Fine.
But like mulching all my PETG, like you're always going to end up with brown. Right?
Yeah, you're talking about blending all these colors.
Yeah, when it comes out, it's going to be brown. Until you can dye it to specific colors,
right? It's shit brown.
It'll always look like poop.
Yep.
Now, if you're printing poop as part of your customer experience, then it's a thing.
As I was airbrushing and I had too much paint in, I was pouring I didn't want to pour it back into the bottle, so I started pouring it into this like spare bottle I had. And then you start mixing colors, and yeah, I just end up with brown paint all the time.
Yeah, and it stinks. That was one of the other things when it's melting all that stuff down. It does, you're melting plastics. So it's, I don't know if I would do that, and if I did, it would have to be outside. But I don't want brown filament either. Latte is okay, but dark brown just is not appealing. I don't know what people would use that for, unless you're doing like deer or moose or something like that. But yeah, not my thing. I like the brights.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, so I got the little splicer thing, and
was that expensive? Like, what are we dealing with here?
No, it wasn't expensive. Like $30-$40, something like that. It comes with a little plastic pieces that you join the two together with, and then you close it, it melts it. I don't know.
We'll wait for your report.
It's magic. I have instructions to read, a QR code to scan.
All right, you want to pause for 1 second? Stand by. Hang on.
So how is Operation Charlie? Operation 11 Charlie will be at Beat the Creek. It's a smaller contingent, I believe, than previous years, but they'll be there. They got a lot going on. I haven't seen this. So it's a touchscreen ESC.
Yeah, hang on. I wanted to try and remove our overlay here. Give me 1 second.
OLED screen and navigatable on the controller. I'm not a fan. I don't know. It's like, why do you need that? Why do you need that?
Why ask why? No, I get it. Just this is where we're at. We're moving forward. They're bringing new stuff out.
Yeah, like it's very nichey. I'm sure somebody likes that, but yeah, that is for drifting.
100%. This is on a drift car. 100%. It's on a drift car.
But you know how these things drift from category to category. But I just don't know what the purpose is. Like what's the ease of function that you don't have already with FureTech doing it on your phone?
Well, it's literally called Slide Tech, so it's in the name. Oh yeah, redefining your RC 110 drifting game.
Yeah, but FureTech has it on your phone already.
Oh, like an app styled to the ESC already.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd be sitting there going like this. Like,
so the question stands: why are we solving a problem that did not exist? I love that line. I
Me
have used that
personally,
3 times this week.
me personally, I think that that's what that is a solution to a problem nobody ever
We
had.
did not.
Um,
I
but
love
it'll sell. Like people will buy it. People would buy, you know, I don't know. They'll buy anything. Um, list it on Amazon. It'll sell. You'll sell at least one. Um, yeah, I don't know. I these are better money spent.
How much for 2?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
They,
we got to
they
go back and look
I
it up.
just yeah. Um, some somebody post up how much the reef shocks are per
Yeah.
set. I'm sure somebody will. David Pig's in here. He'll know.
Yeah.
Um, so these are the aluminum 90 millimeter shocks that Reef released onto us, but it's a very different approach. We've seen a lot of different shock approaches this year. We talked to Mike
Right.
Kirby about
Yep.
his. This is yet another approach.
Well, at first look, I mean, it's a comp looking shock. It's that traditional small spring.
So when you say comp shock,
Yep.
you mean that because of its slender body, right?
Small spring.
Small spring down at the bottom.
Yep.
But what about, we had talked to him on it live when he showed these. We're like, yeah, we need a 70 millimeter. You're very
I was trying to brew you up, but
yeah,
it didn't work.
but we need these in a 70 millimeter. And why is because it's a very scale size shock for scale trucks. You don't have that big coil all the way up.
Yep.
It's got a nice slim body at the top.
Yeah.
The adjustment on these is pretty niche.
Okay.
So typically when you have a shock like this, you have no way of adjusting preload. There's just no way to adjust preload because there's no collar to put the preload. They put the collar on the bottom all the way down at the bottom. So you can adjust your preload with the base of the shock. I'm going to dial this up here so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can adjust your preload at the base. So like one has preload and one doesn't. You can see where the bases are different, right?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now I have a stiffer shock and I have the ability to change preload without changing springs, which is different. I've never seen anybody do that before on this style low spring shock. Very, very cool. The other one
here, I thought he was just buying shocks in China and slapping his name on it.
No, these are designed by Wyatt for Reef.
Engineer, yeah.
X-rings, the whole deal. The top piece, the cap, is keyed into the aluminum part with the Reef's logo on it. This is a plastic rod end, and it keys into the top of the shock, and there's a screw up inside that holds that rod end on. Yeah, David. Thank you, David. $49.99 for 2.
What? That's not bad.
$50 for 2 shocks. It's not bad.
No, it's right there.
It's cheaper than some of the pit bulls and some of the other ones.
It's right in line.
4 millimeters of adjustment on the preload. You have the rod end top. So if you wanted, might have to explore this, but you might be able to put a longer rod end in there, and get some more length out of the shock. The other cool part is, what do we hate about building shocks? What's the hardest part about building shocks besides bleeding them? The actual construction of the shock. C-clips.
Popping that in. Yep.
Did away with C-clips. It's a nut. So when you go back to the racing days, there's a nut on the shock shaft inside of the body. So it's a triple chrome or something, double chrome shaft. but it has threads on the top of it that a nut goes onto to hold the valve, the piston, which for building a shock is
Huge.
so much easier.
Huh.
The fact that they come pre-assembled, and this thing is smooth as silk without oil, and I can't get past that. Like the packing in there it's X-rings, and it's like it's butter smooth right out of the package.
What oil are they recommending? An
Yeah.
oil? Okay.
So I believe it's a 35, between 15 and 35 weight. And it's, yeah.
Are they coming in any other colors, or is he leaving it in
Well,
this?
have you ever met Reef? Do you know what his favorite color is?
What, gold brass, that gold color?
Black.
Black
And gray, right? So they're in black. You can get any color you want as long as it's black.
Black. Okay. Yeah.
I think he's looking at colors later, but
down the line. But no,
15 weight is what.
But you're going back to the scale guys, like they're gonna want these black shocks, maybe a chrome one or something later. But I think
yeah,
black
I mean,
is smooth.
You know how he is. He's like, yeah, we're gonna do this raw 500 servo, and it's gonna be a raw color, and then now they're in black too, and gold and orange. And, green and everything else. So I'm sure
everything gets thrown out the window at some point.
I'm sure at some point, if you jump on his live that he does Thursdays,
you hound him
and beat him up about some color variations, I'm sure he'd oblige.
No, I think this is the perfect welcoming color. Like
and there is a assortment of springs as well. The XP, these are soft, medium, and firm springs in this set. So one bag of these is for a pair of shocks. So
you're thinking that's coming with the 45 or 49?
No, it's a couple bucks extra for the spring kit.
Okay.
But out of the box, like the springs that are on there, I believe are mediums.
Gonna make a lot of people happy. It will check enough boxes with that setup.
Well, and when you're, I mean, size wise, this should be a 90 mil. Yeah, this is a 90 millimeter element shock.
Okay. Yep.
And this is the Reef shock. So when you're like looking at size, you're looking at weight and space. You're going to have capacity with this one, but for comp and stuff, scale, you don't need all that capacity. You're not pre-running. Like this is a pre-runner style shock.
Dude, I can't help but look at this and say, I want to do like 12 trucks right now. And it's like,
right.
I'm like freaking out here. Like, which one do I do first?
So I was in that conundrum too. I was like, well, I want other people to have them too. And I know that there's, batches, right? So the availability of them, I'm sure, is in the thousands, and me buying 2 sets isn't a big deal. But I want to put them on my, like, do I put it on my Origin, my hot hour truck?
Well, you already put Reef's tires on there, so you might as well.
Do I put, what do I put these on
right now
to really maximize my use? So I think I'm going to put them definitely on an optic.
Yeah,
one of the optics. I'm going to put them on and see how they do. I might take the Prices off and put these on and see, run sprung for a little while versus the Pricey style. So give that a shot. I did get my Guillemot.
Oh, that's right. You did some work to that. I have photos of that. I can pull them up.
Yeah.
But you did say something. Go ahead. What do you think of it?
Well,
let's be honest, because I have some things to add to this. So
I ran one. Hey, Javier's in here. Yeah, very impressed with the shocks for that price. Yeah, definitely. The Hillamon, I ran Matt's stock
Yep.
the red one. So I didn't run this one because I was going to tear it apart anyway. So why get it dirty before I tear it apart? I already know what it does in its stock form. So I went ahead and gutted it of all of its electronics, and I put in a Castle, uh, the Cobra 10, and a 2850 kV, and I left the 14 tooth in it.
Okay.
I did a 1100 smart steering servo. I did a Reefs 99 with a micro with the variable horn for the ASD in the back,
Yep.
and a 422 winch for the suck down.
Suck down.
Yeah. I had to make some room with the interior, so I had to kind of cut the interior up a little bit to get all that stuff where I wanted it centered. But yeah, it came out great. I can't show it to you.
Why?
I made a mistake.
Oh,
and I can't show it to you because I put something on it that I'm not allowed to show.
Oh.
So it's my life, right?
Is it on the photos you sent me? Is that
no?
So those are OGs there.
Yeah,
right.
those are you can share those.
Okay.
In its current form as of yesterday, I cannot show it to anybody. Good job, Jeremy. Couldn't have waited another day.
Yeah. Side note with the optic, we hit the traffic jam. Please, the door panels. Once you go to this Terabug, it changes things up with these battery trays. I know you went in depth on your thing, but I'm still pissed off. I had to go back and find my original stock battery trays.
You have to use with a Terabug. It's designed around factory parts, so you got to go back to the factory trays. I ran into this with a customer that posted up.
You said Terabug. I wanted to show you it while you were away.
Yeah. So I had a customer post up on one of the forums. Yeah, yours looks killer. He posted up on one of the forums that the door that I had printed, the holes weren't right and it was crooked. And I was like, dude, I'm telling you now, I check all of them against a battery tray. So I messaged him and I said, hey, let's discuss the problem before we post on Facebook. So he pulled the post down, and as we talked through it, he's using a printed battery tray from another person that when he put the screws in, it tilted, and he ran the screws into the 3D printed material, thinking it was the holes, and his door sat crooked.
Yeah. Been there.
I was like, that's not a me issue. That's a you issue. But he ruined the panel because he cranked it all the way down and it smashed the rises. So I sent him a new panel. I was like, gotta be careful with that. But yeah, the DSM door kits do not fit well with this body set because you can't
fit on. They fit on nicely.
You'll never get them back off because you got to get your finger in there to release them, and they block out that panel where you got to put your finger. So it's this panel right here will prevent you from putting your finger in there to pop them loose. Yeah.
We jumped from we're jumping from the optic back to the Hillamon. Yeah. Sorry.
So the Hillamon, so on here is I tried out those Pitbull, the PBXs, the big 2.2s. They are the exact same height as the stock tire.
Okay.
And I thought it would look like two bicycles riding in tandem, but it really doesn't. They're not skinny like you think they are, but I think it's got a good look to it with the PBXs. Yeah.
What size shocks do you think are on this thing?
They're like 120s and 130s. Okay. They're like rift length.
Yeah.
I think. I know Wyatt had said what length they were when they did their when they were talking about shocks on the Reef Live.
The riffs, it's hard to compare it to that with that large ass spring one there. That the
Very
riffs
true.
are
Yeah,
big.
I would think that these are about that length. I'm sitting here looking at mine all stretched out as it sits. But yeah, that PBX, I think that's a good tire.
Yeah.
Those hubs keeps it narrow as it can possibly be.
So there's the
Yeah,
suck down winch. That's what we
yeah,
came for. This is
yeah.
what I wanted to see.
That's the intended
Oh, and
mounting of the suck down, and there's guides on the battery tray for that winch line.
So when you put your ESC in, you had trouble putting the interior back in. Was that?
Yeah, just because of the castle,
Yep.
The plugs are a little proud, and it's got a lot more heat sink, and it's got a fan on it, and it's got all the things that the stock controller doesn't have.
Is there a closer look where you dropped it? Yeah, you just got it tucked down there in there.
Oh, the interior. Well, the interior's not in there.
No, I was trying to figure out where you slammed the ESC.
Oh, it's right where the stock one went.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the same pad that the stock one was on.
And then, like, the driver just kind of sits over top of it.
Yeah,
are the wires almost going up in his body a little bit?
So it's like right up the center. So like where the cup holders are.
Yep.
I don't know why there's cup holders in a buggy. This isn't Rory Irish. I don't know why
there's
a cup holder.
There's cup holders and nothing in the back end. There's no fuel cell. Like the whole SN's naked.
So I cut from where the shifter is to the back between the seats, and that alleviated the problem. Plus, it lets the fan actually breathe.
Oh, look at these little sexy screw caps in red.
Yeah. It's an expensive servo. Use servo washers. That'd be crazy. Yeah. A little bling, but it's I don't like running steel screws against my aluminum case.
I'm waiting for Trio to come to the rescue so we can lose these taped axles.
So if you don't stalk the Trio website like I do, you'll notice at the very top of their axial listing page, is the word axial Helaman.
It's already written in,
but there's no content in there yet. So that tells me that the parts are coming within a couple days to weeks.
You stalker, dude! You stalker! Oh my god!
Just saying. I mean, there's a rhythm, right? You wake up, you get coffee, you poop, you check the Trio site, you check the Vanquish site. And you go about your day.
You had it down to like a certain time frame when their trend is. Like I know
when the drops occur. It's
when the time zones are calculated in. I know.
Yeah. Like if you're up around 2 to 3 a.m., it's a great time to look at that website, especially on a Thursday. Wednesdays and Thursdays are fantastic days. Everybody's chiming in. Just check.
You were sick.
So yeah. Now, if you did pay attention, there's a Vanquish page on the Trio website. They are making Vanquish parts, specifically the aluminum outers for the portals and weighted portal covers.
Well, so the Vanquish isn't new. I mean, they've been breaking the internet.
Trio is making parts for the Vanquish axles. That's a departure, right? So that's an aftermarket company making aftermarket parts for the aftermarket. Wow. Now, I guess Vanquish is technically an OEM now, so it's their design.
Yep.
And Trio is making hub covers for the F9, F10 portals that. The finish is different. Obviously, you can have the shiny black aluminum versus the Vanquish, like I call it soft anodizing because it's got like a little texture to it. But you can get brass portal covers and all that stuff now through Trio. So of course mine are in shipping. So I'll definitely cover that when they come in and look at some of the differences. But it's really great. It's another great pathway because Trio sells on Amazon, and I know that they are trying to get them into Amazon before tariffs hit, so the price isn't affected. which leads me to another bombshell blitz.
We know how tariffs work. Is that going to get too political? But the cost is passed on to you.
I'm not going to get into a political discussion, but if you
say it, it's going to get passed on to you.
It is, but it isn't. So, I don't want to get into a political commentary and discussion on why tariffs are in place and what their
Jeremy says sit tight.
What their actual percentages are and stuff like that.
Let it ride. Yeah. Don't panic.
Yeah. Oh, and you are done. Jeremy Burris is on here, so he chimed in. Trail pieces for the F10 portal will allow for smaller hubs. So that, yeah. And I hope that their trio is also doing a 12 mil hex that doesn't have the keyed portion on it for SLW hubs. Flat face 12 mil hexes for that would be fantastic. Because I hate that. The incompatibility of those SLWs, it's a pain in the ass. And people don't get their wheel nuts tight because of it. Wobble wheels go on forever and ever. Anywho, before I got sidetracked on tariffs, there was a post about an hour and a half ago now on the BRX01, BRX02 fan page that you guys might want to check out.
Was it like in a bold red background? Was it like catching your attention? I saw it right before we logged in here, and I was.
Yeah, so that is the AWB. If you're not familiar, the BRX01 AWB that they've been teasing for over a year now. They're purposely going to set the pre-orders to beat tariffs.
Okay.
So that should be pretty soon.
So it will speed the timeline up, like for payment to get your pre-order in, but there might be a little bit more distance in the shipping time because it might not be ready yet. Like, will that be the gap?
Don't think so.
Okay.
I think the delivery, from my understanding, is like May.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So I think they're doing a mid-April pre on the first batch.
But we can say maybe if you're at Beat the Creek, you might see something.
You may see
okay.
something there.
It might be worth attending.
Might be if that's your bag, man. It's, but yeah, that was a huge announcement. And
beat
the
tariff. Okay.
Yeah, beat the tariff, not beat the creek. Beat the tariff.
Beat the tariffs.
Yeah. So let me explain. I saw this on the news the other night. Minor political thing. So if you're not into the political thing, either listen because I have something different to say, or listen or just turn your speakers off. So this person was being interviewed in New York City. A businessman. He sells eggs, raises chickens, sells eggs, and the bias of the reporting was amazing. And they were like, "How has this affected?" Muted. I was like, "You fucker." That's when you should have muted it. So he says, the reporter says, "How's this affected you?" And he says, "Well, it's terrible. I have to raise the price per dozen because they raise the price of the cartons I buy from China." And the reporter says, "That's interesting." He says, "Is there nobody in the United States that makes egg cartons?" And he says, "No, there's none." And he says, "Well, maybe you should start making egg cartons
instead
because
of selling
apparently
eggs.
There's a market." And the guy is just like, he was just dumbfounded. Like he didn't know. he didn't understand where the guy was headed with it. Like, it was just funny. But that's the whole point, right? When you import everything and you have nothing domestically, and now you have an incentive to do it again
Grow
here, because
industry,
we used
create
to make
jobs.
we used to make egg cartons, styrofoam, paper,
Yeah.
cardboard. We made egg cartons. Um, so make egg cartons. Apparently, there's a market, and it'll be cheaper eventually. It'll be cheaper than buying it from China and shipping it, halfway around the world to go to market with it. So, yeah, I that was my little commentary, and I'll get off my soapbox. But I thought it
But
was a unique perspective on what's
absolutely,
going on and what is trying to be done to grow the economy here.
there's a short and a long term. That's the dilemma. There is the short term tariff passed on, long term incentive to grow industry, create jobs, and work in house.
Make it here, right?
Yeah, that will take a little bit of time. We got to get that in the pipeline and
Well,
get
yeah,
going.
yeah. But how long does it take to set up an Amazon warehouse? One of those big, huge 4 to 5 acre warehouses.
Right.
How long do you think it takes Amazon to build one?
They like, you turn around and it's done.
4 months.
Yeah.
And that's air conditioned. Full conveyor system, the whole automated palletization.
Mile long.
It's all there, right? So, I mean, will it take years?
No.
But all right, back to RC.
Yes.
The RC show. What else do we have?
All right, we hit shocks.
Oh, there's only there is only one steel foundry left in America.
Wow.
But with the regulations that they've put in, there can be more. It's the same as wood, right?
Yeah.
If you look, there's only like 2 or 3 wood manufacturing, where they make 2x4s. There's only a couple left, and they're all owned by the same people. So competition may come back because some of that deregulation will allow for them to make emissions that nobody wanted before. They started burning Teslas, and I don't understand that at all. But sure. Back to the RC stuff. What else we got?
Let's see. I really think we're rounding around the corner and to the end. We hit the shift. We hit on those shocks. That was the most important thing I wanted to see.
They're shockingly good.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have one image I'm scrolling for here right now, but that's just a fun side note. Lastly, I guess tomorrow, any thoughts? Where you heading?
Tomorrow we're looking at rain.
Yep.
So I think in the morning is safe.
There is there's something here.
If you drive up here. You guys got some stuff going on. That's a little far for me.
I know. Well, go jump in Matt's car. We're trying to get him to come.
I don't think Matt's coming. I think Matt's coming with me to the rocks.
All right.
Because that's quite a haul.
I know. It's a commitment.
I'm not trying to buy anything. So
well, look at it the other way. You could come here and sell something, maybe.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, I'm not doing it. Yes. So the swap meet at WeRC is tomorrow, and hopefully the weather is good for them, and they don't have to postpone. But I won't be here. I won't even be in town next week. So you got to find another guest.
Well, I am happy to say 2 things then. One, I think the internet worked. I think it held together pretty well tonight.
Oh my God, yeah.
I ain't getting any lag.
We've been
right there. All right. So I think we might have figured that out.
Envious of the quality of your picture from what I'm seeing. Like it's really good.
It's locked. I'm feeling good. And then next week we might have a chance. Jeremy Burris has volunteered to help behind the scenes. And a production producer kind of help us navigate and click buttons that we can't get to in a hurry. he has volunteered to sit behind the scenes and help
Well, damn.
fiddle around and help us
Thanks.
keep an eye on things that way. So that might be a transition into him next week while you're away, and
Yeah.
we'll work on something.
Yeah.
Because we're still in the middle of April. We're getting closer to Roush Creek, where we're gonna have AJ pop
Yep.
over for like a super shafty East Coast thing, a little closer to us.
Yeah.
So we're trying to put a couple of guys to go say hello to him. Just brought it up last week, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think it's worth the trip. We love Roush Creek. I mean, that is just
Oh yeah, the place is
that's
awesome.
a playground. So it's close enough to go head over there and say hello to him and cheer some of those comp guys on. I think that is this month, if I'm not mistaken. It's the end
Believe
of
it is.
like
End
I
of
think
April.
it's like 2 weeks away, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Easter's coming. Like, dude, I really can't believe
Easter's
we're in
Easter's
the
in
middle of
3
April.
weeks.
Like, where the hell is the time going? It just speeds up. It's
Run away
flying
from you.
by.
But which
Whew.
next week I'm going out to Arizona for a little R&R with the wife.
Little recon.
Little recon, little rest and relaxation as well. So looking for warm weather and sunsets. So we're pretty easy to get along with. Headed out there. So that's where I'll be next week. No more. It's not a secret scale event or anything like that.
Okay, nothing else is gonna pop up.
Just vacation.
Illuminati of Scale Part 2.
Yeah. Catching the coyote. But yeah.
Great. Well, all right. I got my image. We're gonna run with we'll do this one. I got like 10 of them I can show. All right, so everybody made it here to the end. We want to thank you all for that. But officially it is live. I'll give you a chance to drop any Eddie's sales if is anything still running? I know you dropped a few before you left for the Illuminati.
Yeah, so I did a no shipping sale while I was gone.
Okay.
And everybody bought everything and wiped me out. And thank you for that. So now I'm building inventory again. As we had to beat the creek, I got to build inventory. So
save $1 and people will come in. It's crazy.
I was really shocked. I don't know if it was just happenstance or what, but people use the heck out of that code for my Facebook page, and Facebook and Instagram is where I posted it. Some people didn't use it, and they paid shipping, and I refunded their shipping.
Wow.
So
okay.
If I'm going to run a sale, I'm going to run it for everybody. But I'd rather you use the code because then I know social media is working. But yeah, I'm building stock back up and trying to get things going. But you have a sale going on.
We do. We will throw that right there. Bring it 25 with a capital B. It's that simple. But the post will be going up. We're just going to drop it here first. Announcement here. So if you are trying to get your order in before Beat the Creek, we can coordinate and make that happen. But that is your promo code. Good on the entire order. We left it out there for people to do the math and be surprised what that actually converts to.
So that's 25% off.
Almost. Yeah, it works out to $120 for the backpack now.
Wow.
Yeah, we got creative. $119.99. We got it down to, and that's going to run for the entire month of April.
The whole month.
For the whole month of April.
25% off is unheard of.
Yeah.
So that is, I'm telling you now, if people aren't buying Father's Day, Christmas, like in advance, like you're missing a great deal. That is a smoking deal, Mike.
And we do not do this often. I think I think we could count on one hand the number of times we've actually lost launched a free promo code or some type of sale. So this is a big deal. We'll let it rip. And people want to ask why, and I thought it was just appropriate to say sometimes you just don't even need a reason.
Hey, if
Why
you're
ask?
gonna, if you're gonna do a sale at 25% off, do it once a year, and
Yeah, that's probably
you're
what this will end up
you're
being.
you're coloring for autism, like the whole thing for, and it's
The
a great
timing
month.
was perfect. Yeah,
It's a great month to do it, right? Because you can get it for Mother's Day, you can get it for
Yep.
Father's Day, you can get it for holidays later in the year.
I didn't even think about all of that. How appropriate April lands, and people are getting their tax return money, and
I mean, there's that. Yeah, it is definitely time to get a bag.
Yeah,
that is sick.
And the best way was it wasn't specific to the bag. It's on the sling bag. It's off the order, period. So we left it out there. And that's why I didn't go and write the number on the actual backpack. We didn't price the bag at that $119.99. It works out to be that after you drop in the promo code. But if you add your sling bag and all, if you want to combine, it's off the entire order. Go to the website if you want to need the fine print, but the simplest thing we can tell you, we made it big and bold with a capital B. Bring it 25. The capital B is important. And yeah, we owe Bobby a sling bag. Bobby, you don't have to order anything. That's coming your way, my friend. We actually have it done, and hopefully we'll ship that out to you this week, Bobby.
Cool.
Couple of things ready for him. So, hey, you know what, Bobby, we should get you back on here again. It might be a time.
Hey, I mean, there's next week.
Yeah, well, I'll hit him up. So that is it. Let me close out of that window. Jeremy, you talked a lot tonight. You brought us. You declassified the event. You broke down the reefs shocks. It was a night.
Yeah,
and yeah. So we can't thank you enough. That was fantastic.
That was a good evening.
Yes, it was.
I'm sorry for the political stuff.
It has to be done. It's everywhere right now. It is all over the map.
Yeah.
I cut you off. So are you and Matt hitting the rocks then in the rain? Is that what's going to happen? Or are you dodging rain bullets?
I think
tomorrow?
we're dodging the rain in the morning. I think the rain isn't supposed to move into this area specifically until lunchtime. So if we can get out, I still have to contact him. I think he was still working, so I didn't see him pop on here. So I mean, he works late on Saturdays.
Yeah, takes a
so I got to get a hold of him and see if we're gonna do some testing in the morning. If not, I got to get out and do some testing. I got a backlog of stuff to do.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've got the itch. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the weather works out here tomorrow.
And I got batteries to discharge, so what better way to do it?
Let them rip. Yeah.
Let them rip, tater chip.
Oh, good eye. You happen to notice the new signage behind me. We got Super Bowl champion signs behind. That's new. Good eye there, Jeremy. Thank you for pointing that out.
Oh my.
All right, let's do this. Let's find a fade out here, and you tell everybody to be be mindful. People are always watching it around every corner. If you want your Illuminati invite next year, this is the time to get your ducks in a row and be mindful.
Be noticed.
Be noticed, and post the good trucks and watch what you write. It's all factors in if you're going to get a t-shirt in the mail one day.
My nice gift box.
I love it.
So it doubles as a car stand. So now
no. Was that intentional? Is it that hard? It's that firm? Oh, that's freaking genius. Freaking genius. Oh, sugar plums. All right, so we're going to take us out of here with a simple counter downer here. All right, people, it was fun. We'll see you